KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Get paid to save with Empower Checking, a new high-yield checking account. Visit togethercu.org/empower.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, hit it.
It's the Chris and Amy Show.
You know who it is.
Also, if you didn't know, this is called the show.
Now, Amy Marks Coors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Good morning, friends. Hope you're well on this Thursday. It is the 1st of August. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Do you know what that means? I think the pumpkin spice latte and Halloween decorations are probably already out.
Yeah, dude. The Total Information AM, Megan, this morning was talking about
It's called Summerween.
Summerween, because it is. It's called Summerween.
Why does that sound like something completely different?
Because it is. I love it. I love the idea of Summerween. Today on the show, phone number is always open for you to call us and whatever. 314-436-7900. Hope you're listening on the Odyssey app. It is AUDACY. Download it for free.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich has been released from a Russian prison after a long ordeal. So is Paul Whelan, the former U.S. Marine. He has been let go. A huge prisoner swap with Russia that happened this morning.
And yesterday, Trump was a guest at the National Association of Black Journalists, and there has been quite a reaction to some of the statements he has made.
Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals making his major league debut, and it was a good one. They beat the Rangers at home. It is the Cubs now on the road for the Cardinals, Wrigley Field. They will get that 4-game series started tonight. Amy Marks Coors and Chris Ranji. It has been the big news of the morning. Woke up to it that an agreement had been made between the United States, Russia, and several other countries. This was kind of like a multi-team trade, about as big as you could possibly get. Germany, Slovenia, Norway, Poland, the United States and Russia obviously involved in this. But the main headline that comes from it is Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter who was wrongfully imprisoned and then sentenced to 16 years in prison recently, has been let go. Also, Paul Whelan, you remember him, his name has come up a lot over the years, especially during the whole Brittany Griner situation. He has been released. There have been, 13 other prisoners that have been released from Russia. And it looks like going back the other way, there are 8 prisoners that are going back to Russia. So this is a massive, massive deal that happened this morning.
And CNN is reporting, I know you gave some of those numbers and which ones are prisoners and who else is involved. I don't know exactly how everything is parsed out. However, Turkey did say that it played the mediator role. And this prisoner swap involved 26 people in 7 countries. And that it is the most complicated prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russia, going back even to the Soviet era. So even in the Soviet era, there was nothing quite as big and complicated as this that just went down. And it was apparently the result of months of what they are describing as quiet and complicated negotiations between Moscow and Washington.
Yeah, this is a kind of thing that does not happen quickly. You don't get this done in a week. You don't get it done in a couple of weeks. I would imagine it does take several months to get this going. And if you remember when Gershkovich had his sentencing, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
It was very recent that he had his sentencing for what we all know was absolutely a sham trial. He was going to be used by Russia as a pawn to get something back. They waited until the sentencing to really push this thing through. So this has been in the works for a while. I think the United States and everybody involved knew what was going on, that when he was sentenced, that was just kind of part of the whole game that was happening here. And this is, Amy, this is a game, right?
Yeah,
it's a game with people's lives, but Russia knew what it was doing this entire time. And the United States and all these other countries, if they want these people back, What else do you do?
And it's incredibly frustrating. Right. I don't know how to handle a situation like this. We know with the Brittany Griner situation, Russia was able to get back the merchant of death. I mean, a horrific
An arms dealer.
arms dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was his nickname, the merchant
Which
of death.
we knew about for a long time, and maybe tacit approval of his doings.
Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. What I am saying is a lot of times in
would.
these prisoner exchanges, you are getting criminals. You're getting sometimes they're murderers, sometimes they're terrorists. Because when especially democratic countries are hoping to get their people back because they value life, it is incredibly difficult to negotiate with autocratic or dictatorial countries that do not value life. And what's interesting too about Evan Gershkovich, as we mentioned, he was falsely imprisoned. It was a sham trial, and he had been over in Russia and imprisoned for over a year. He was the first American journalist to be imprisoned under false charges of espionage since the Cold War. So obviously Russia will imprison people unfairly. They'll make up charges. They'll imprison,
Sure.
like Brittany Griner saying, oh, well, we found marijuana in your bag, what have you. But the specific charge of espionage, that was the first time since the Cold War that a journalist, and that's what's scary, is when you have autocratic countries also imprisoning, charging with spying journalists.
Yeah, I know that it is probably unavoidable for many American citizens. And I say unavoidable, I don't know that that's the right word, but there are people who are more compelled to visit Russia. For me as an American, certainly I have no ties to Russia. So it would be, I would have absolutely no business ever visiting, going over there for any reason whatsoever. I suppose if your job takes you there, you may not have much of a choice, but I'd be very nervous about going to a country like that, especially right now, knowing who's in charge of that country. And this is a good thing ultimately. We talk about how the United States does not, the policy is to not negotiate with terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nation state, though. So I don't know what you can do. If you want your people back, I'm not sure you have much of a choice but to negotiate and give up somebody you probably don't want to. By the way, in terms of the numbers, the United States itself released 3 prisoners back to Russia. Slovenia releases 2, and Norway, Poland, and Germany each release 1. So that's how this all shook out. And a lot of people have been released by Russia today. So,
yeah.
Ultimately, this is great for the families. This is a wonderful thing for Gershkovich, his family, Whelan's family, everybody else who's involved.
Yeah. And like you said, it is, the negotiation, the way prisoner swaps work, it's different when you're dealing with nation states and prisoners versus hostages, where you don't want to negotiate with terrorists. And, Putin is a war criminal. We see what he continues to do in Ukraine. We know that he thinks that the greatest tragedy in world history is the dissolution of the USSR and would love to rebuild that. He's a former KGB agent. But I think, as you mentioned, the biggest thing are the Americans who will be coming back home after being wrongly, falsely imprisoned.
There was a lot that was going on in the afternoon and evening hours last night. There was a pretty big story after the former president spoke at the National Association of Black Journalists conference that took place in Chicago. It did not go particularly well, and there was a lot of reaction to it, and that was the story until this prisoner exchange happened this morning. So we will talk about that. Also, the Olympics yesterday. We've got Major Garrett coming up at 10:30, just after the news, and we will get his take on all of these things. It is Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
Or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Patriots like President Trump never stop fighting for their country. Because Trump knows America's on life support and says Dr. Bob Onder can help him save it. Trump's endorsed Dr. Bob Onder for Congress, calling him an incredible America First patriot who will fight tirelessly for our families and conservative values. Dr. Bob Onder, the Trump-endorsed America First conservative. Kurt Schaefer is different. Trump calls Schaefer weak on MAGA because Trump knows his record, voting to let foreign-owned entities buy up Missouri farmland. Now China owns over 40,000 acres. And Schaefer's campaign took $30,000 from a Chinese-owned company. He won't make America great. He'll make China rich. If given the chance, Schaefer will do it again. Win It Backpack is responsible for the content of this ad. Paid for by Win It Backpack. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. WinItBackpack.com.
CARE STL Health proudly hosts Project O, the 5th annual opioid awareness walk run in Forest Park, August 3rd. Choose from a 5K or 1 mile route. Registration is free, with donations appreciated. There will be giveaways and awards for attendees. Join CARE STL Health as they amplify awareness of the opioid crisis, honor those lost to addiction, and bring together community resources to support those affected by the opioid epidemic. CARE STL Health Project O Walk Run is Saturday morning, August 3rd in Forest Park. Visit carestlhealth.org to register.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3077. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3077 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-3077.
KMOX, your go-to for family-friendly discussions of topics that matter to you. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. Major Garrett, a lot of issues to discuss with him, including the prisoner swap that we were talking about that occurred this morning. It took place, officially happened at an airport in Turkey about 40 minutes ago or so, somewhere in that range. But the actual exchange has happened. So we will get Major Garrett's thoughts on that. And on this, yesterday, Amy, there was a conference that took place in Chicago from the National Association of Black Journalists, who had invited former President Trump to come and do sort of a Q&A, and they had some moderators on stage. It did not go particularly well.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty.
Okay, there's a lot to take in there. I don't understand why Donald Trump gives the answers he does, talks the way he does. But here's my first takeaway. One, it's a ridiculous answer by Donald Trump. It's an offensive answer by Donald Trump. I mean, it almost feels insulting that you have to defend Kamala Harris from those comments because she's, like the moderator said, she went to a historically black college. She was in a historically black sorority. Yeah. She was on the Congressional Black Caucus. It's almost insulting to have to defend her from that. The question also is a little odd. I'm not sure what answer they wanted from Donald Trump. And the reason why I bring up the question, we know Kamala Harris is exceptionally qualified. She was the attorney general for the state of California. She was the district attorney, worked her way up, right, through those ranks to be chosen to be vice president. We know she is smart. We know she is qualified. We also know that Joe Biden, before he picked a vice president, said, I'm going to pick a black woman to be a vice president.
He said a woman.
A woman?
He said he wanted to pick a woman to be vice president.
And a black woman on the Supreme Court.
And a black woman.
Yes, okay.
He was explicit about the black woman on the Supreme Court.
I was a bit confused because remember like Susan Rice, I think he did eventually specify.
Well, no, what he had was he had multiple black women on his short list.
Okay.
I think he had up to 4, something like 3 or 4.
So my question is, that doesn't mean it's a DEI hire, right? It means he was going to go out of his way to pick a woman, and then he had several black women on his short list, just like he said, I'm going to name a black woman to the Supreme Court, just as Ronald Reagan said, I am going to name the first woman to a Supreme Court, right? So we know that was out there. So that was a factor among all of the qualified applicants. Do you know what I mean? So I think, is that the answer she wanted? Because I don't know if it was like a little odd, unless she meant.
I think she's getting at all the DEI stuff because that's what people have been saying about Harris for 2 weeks now, that she's a DEI hire. She was a DEI pick, that she didn't earn anything that she's got. And my issue with the people who have an issue with diversity, equity, and inclusion measures is the idea that people are getting jobs. And maybe it does happen sometimes where a person who's unqualified gets a job. But by and large, for the most part, what that means is they're giving a look to minorities or to groups who typically don't get a look, but they're not saying that they are not qualified. It's that if you have a pool of qualified kids, it's just like the Rooney Rule in football. You have to, as a team, interview a couple of black candidates to be your head coach. It's just it's part of the NFL's rules. They have to do it. And it's not to say that they have to hire one of those coaches. It's that a lot of times those coaches don't even get an interview. They don't even get a look. And many of them are very qualified to do the job. They just don't get ever asked.
And I totally agree and that's why I want to point it out, though, is like, don't pretend that wasn't a factor in Joe Biden picking from among a list of very qualified applicants.
But don't say she's unqualified because of it. And you're not saying
no,
that.
I'm not saying that. But that's what I mean is you can acknowledge and say in March of 2020, Joe Biden said, I will pick a woman to be my vice president, right? So that is a qualifying factor, not like qualifications, but a qualifying factor. Then he further narrowed it down in June, and he said he has 4 Black women that he was considering to be his running mate, right?
Yeah.
And so then we picked from that list. It doesn't mean they're not qualified, but it also means that that being a woman, being a Black woman, was also a priority in the selection process. And I feel like everything gets so wacky and people start to lose their mind and they can't hold 2 truths in their brains without going insane. And that truth is that she is qualified. She is an accomplished, qualified woman. And also that Joe Biden wanted to help break a barrier by appointing a woman and then the first Black woman.
That's perfectly okay.
Which is what Ronald Reagan did. And I don't see people saying that Sandra Day O'Connor was unqualified.
Right. And that I think that's really the idea. Kamala Harris is qualified to be president. That doesn't mean you're going to like her, whatever her policy positions are. You may not like her personally for whatever reason, and that's okay. People can not like whatever candidate they don't like for whatever reason. They don't want to like them. But you cannot argue that she's unqualified, because if you said unqualified, when President Trump won the first time, he was absolutely unqualified to be president. So it's not about that, really.
No.
You can't use that as a knock against her because it just isn't true.
She is qualified. And exactly like you said, I do disagree with a lot of her policy issues, socially, economically, and so forth. But she is technically
which is fair.
far more qualified to be president than Donald Trump was in 2020.
I think the campaign right now, and who knows if they'll correct themselves. They have 96 days to get it done. I think it is a mistake for them strategically to do this. I don't know that he'll be able to help himself. I think the people around him who speak publicly will probably tone down the DEI stuff, the is she Indian, is she Black? They'll tone those things down.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know that he'll be able to control it because of just what his personality traits are. But I do not believe it's a winning strategy.
No, it's not a winning strategy. You can attack policy. Go after policy.
End
of story.
Sure.
And here's the thing, too, with Trump. I don't even know so much that, this is what he believes. I literally could imagine him reading some random tweet/truth about Kamala Harris. She said she was Indian, right? Without any facts, without any sources cited. Trump reading that, and then that just comes up into his brain. Like, I don't even know what he actually believes. I think he just spitballs so much that he just says stuff that he randomly remembers. So for all I know, he read something. It was like, I don't even know if she's Black. What is that supposed to mean other than you're spitballing from a mess of information and you don't know where you got that information?
When we come back, we're going to talk to our guy, Major Garrett. We'll get his thoughts on all of this. We will talk more about that prisoner swap and what more information he might have, certainly his thoughts on it. We got a lot coming up on the show, and we are glad that you are with us today. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
As President Trump's trusted attorney, Missouri's Will Scharf beat the lawfare liberals at their own game, delivering a major victory for Trump at the Supreme Court. He'll win for Missouri, too. Scharf's a rule of law conservative, tough on crime, backs the blue. Conservative Will Scharf, warrior for Trump, winner for Missouri Attorney General. Because Missouri's lost enough with liberal Andrew Bailey. As a prosecutor, Bailey went easy on a violent repeat felon with a long rap sheet, including shooting up a police car. Yet Bailey charged him with mere misdemeanors when he struck again, leading to a plea deal that cut him loose within months. Bailey slapped a violent felon on the wrist, the same wrist he allegedly used to shoot a cop. Buried last year, mourned by loved ones wearing black, because Bailey betrayed the blue. He'll betray Missouri, too. Defend Missouri PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. 471-671-2291.
Are you ready to shape the future? Missouri is crafting its master plan on aging, and we want to hear from you.
Visit health.mo.gov/aging to share your thoughts, ideas, and concerns. We can create a vibrant, inclusive future for all generations.
Hey guys, it's Dave and Rachel from The Dave Glover Show.
So Smart Mouth is the only mouth rinse in the world that has a chemical reaction that makes sure that your bad breath is gone for 12 hours at a time, which means 24 hours a day, zero bad breath.
Yeah, all you have to do is rinse twice and you are covered for 24 hours. That means you never have bad breath. Plus, there's a product to fit whatever your needs are. To learn more, go to their website, smartmouth.com/Glover. And while you're there, you can get a coupon for $2.50 off.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best, Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
At 10:30, clouds and 83 downtown at the Arch. The United States and Russia have completed their biggest prisoner swap in post-Soviet history, with Moscow releasing Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and Michigan corporate security executive Paul Whelan in a multinational deal that sets some 24 people free. President Joe Biden placed securing the release of Americans held wrongfully overseas at the top of his foreign policy agenda for the 6 months before he leaves office.
What a major league debut from Michael McGreevy. He pitches the Cardinals to a 10-1 win against the Rangers yesterday, going 7 strong innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk as he picks up the win in his major league debut. Tommy Pham continues to come through for the Cardinals in his second game, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Alec Burleson also drives in 2, while Brendan Donovan has 2 hits and 3 RBIs. The Cardinals take 2 of 3 from the Rangers. They get set for a 4-game series against the Cubs starting tonight. Sonny Gray on the mound looking for his 11th win. 7:05 first pitch. Our coverage begins at 6:10. With the Redbird Report, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Excessive heat warning through 7 p.m. High today of 94. Real field temperatures near 100. Thunderstorm this evening, low 75. Right now, 83. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Onder Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Hey, fantasy football owners. The road to winning your fantasy football championship starts now. I'm Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. Join me and James Coe as we take a deep dive into the position that's going to make or break your fantasy roster. Wide receivers. We analyze route running, target share, and all the metrics that matter, giving you the insights you need to draft the best wide receivers. As you prep for your draft, let us give you the coverage you need. Follow and listen to Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Mark Harder, and I'm running for Missouri Senate 15 on August 6th. Over the last 9 years, I have delivered for the residents of West St. Louis County. I fought for senior tax freeze and delivered. I fought for the Veterans Treatment Court and delivered. I fought for police training, funding, and community support and delivered. I fought to keep our neighborhoods safe and our cars from being stolen and delivered. Now I need your support. Vote smarter, vote harder in the August 6th primary.
Paid for by citizens to elect Mark Harder. Chuck McCluskey, Treasurer.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
The
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Hi, this is Paul Goldschmidt, and it's game day.
It's the Cards and Cubs tonight. Emeren Total Access 610. First pitch 7:05.
Let's play ball.
On your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
We go to the Quiver River Electric guest line every Thursday morning just after the 10:30 news, and we talk with our guy, the chief Washington correspondent for CBS News. He's got a book, and it's a good one, The Big Truth, Upholding Democracy in the Age of the Big Lie, and 2 podcasts, The Takeout and Agent of Betrayal. Major Garrett is with us on KMOX. Good morning, Major.
Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Well, man, it's happy certainly for the families of Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan and 13 other people who have been released by Russian prisons. This was a huge story this morning and still is.
Very, very big story with multiple nations involved, innumerable diplomatic and legal intricacies, and for Paul Whelan, who was arrested, we should remind ourselves, in December of 2018. He has been in some of the roughest prisons in Russia, almost all of that time in captivity. I have interviewed his brother twice on our CBS News streaming platform. His brother has been a fierce and relentless advocate for Paul. Evan Gershkovich obviously had the visibility and the heft of the Wall Street Journal behind him on a daily basis. There is another U.S. citizen involved in the release and others, and the main Russian involved was in German custody. Many, many layers to this. I cannot even imagine the level of diplomatic engagement. It's probably taken 6 to 8 months with all the countries involved to make this work to the satisfaction of everyone involved, with all the various desires and equities, diplomatic, legal, and otherwise. And this is, unfortunately, the hard work that the United States and other countries have to engage in, because the Russian government, as policy, and they've made no secret of this, and it is one of the many odious parts of the current Russian government, makes it a policy to capture innocent people, try them on ridiculous, unfounded charges, hold them in prison, and use them as pawns in some other larger swap maneuver. That is a sad and bitter reality of the modern era in Russia. And it takes a lot of work to try to get those Americans falsely accused home. And we've made some genuine progress in that space today.
Major, just news across the globe. The supreme leader, Ayatollah of Iran, reportedly ordered a direct attack on Israel yesterday. This was in retaliation for the fatal strike on a Hamas leader that took place on Iranian soil, which was considered really an affront and kind of an embarrassment for Tehran. What do we know about potential actions from Iran?
That they've been threatened. What we do know, and I don't know anything more than that, and neither do the Israelis, and neither is the U.S. government, or what they do know, if they know anything they're not saying or disclosing publicly, and probably for obvious strategic and operational reasons. But look, what we do know is Iran launched a series of missiles against Israel, and the Biden administration and Benjamin Netanyahu talked about this in his address to Congress, assembled a coalition to help protect Israel in whatever ways technologically was possible, and did so. And very little damage and very little injury occurred within Israel the last time Iran tried this. We don't know what kind of attack that was. They're most aggressive in their capabilities or not. But what we do know is when an attack was launched, it was blunted and blunted successfully, not just by the United States, but by the Brits and other nations involved. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, though he has clashed with the Biden administration, the war in Gaza, and criticism thereof, could not have been more forthright in his praise of that coalition building, which was led by President Biden. So it just underscores this is an incredibly fragile and dangerous time in the Middle East. We are justifiably relieved and overjoyed that Paul Whelan and Evan Gershkovich have been released. That is a great good news story. But the Middle East remains a deeply troubling place, and it's not just what Iran may or may not do. It is what its proxies in Hezbollah and Lebanon may do. That has been a tinderbox waiting to explode, the northern frontier of Israel and its border with Lebanon. That is all very fraught right now as well. So every day in the Middle East right now is a day for potential escalation. And every day that escalation doesn't occur is a good day for the globe.
Yesterday was former President Trump's NABJ appearance, and it did not go especially well. And he was the news story really all of last night, and up until the news of the prisoner exchange this morning. What has been the reaction today to that, and what you believe or how that might change the campaign moving forward, if at all?
So the reaction is much less important than what happened and why it happened from my perspective. The reaction is the reaction. What Trump wanted to do was three things. One, drive himself to the top of the news chain, which he has, a place he hasn't been for the last 2 weeks, if not longer, to his deep frustration. Two, take on the question of race because he knows that will push him to the top of the news conversation, and do so in a way not to get deeply involved in the race question, because he knows net that is a loser for him and for J.D. Vance and Republicans generally. But if I've learned anything about former President Trump, first as a candidate in 2015, then as a nominee for the party in 2016, President of the United States, and his long journey back to being the Republican nominee in 2024, it's this. He will take the slings and arrows for a week or two on any given topic if it's part of a larger strategy. And the larger strategy, unquestionably to me, is, and you heard J.D. Vance say this on the road yesterday, Kamala Harris is not who she says she is. She is a phony. Why does that matter? Strategically for the Trump campaign, they now know the race has shifted away from where it was. The old doddering incumbent, quote unquote, was President Biden. President Biden's out. The incumbent now, the old white representation of the establishment, is now Trump. So when you're the incumbent and you're facing a challenger, because Kamala Harris, though she inherits the Biden record, is the fresh-faced challenger in this race. What do you do if you're the incumbent? You have to make the challenger unacceptable or too dangerous or for some other reason, not as appealing as the challenger and the fresh face originally appeared. One of the ways they're going to try to do that is say that Kamala Harris is a phony, doesn't know who she is, doesn't know what she believes. And that's what yesterday was all about.
Yeah, absolutely. That the Trump campaign had really built its whole campaign against Joe Biden, not against Kamala Harris. Speaking of Kamala Harris, still needing to pick a vice presidential candidate for her ticket. Again, we know that Roy Cooper, he pulled his name out of the ring. Who are you looking at right now?
So I really do think it is down to those most mentioned. And I don't have any particularly new reporting insight to this. I have talked to the Democrats who are close to this process. They all say more or less the same thing, which means they know a little bit, but not all that they need to know about the story. You've got to keep your eyes on Mark Kelly, senator from Arizona. Why? Because as a senator, as a senator from a state nearby California, I mean, really nearby, shares a border, Kamala Harris and Mark Kelly know each other very well. For all Democrats who care about gun safety issues, the biography not only of Mark Kelly, but his wife, Gabby Giffords, has a resonance that is basically unmatched in American politics. Arizona is important to the electoral map and strategy for any successful Democratic nominee, though not as important as Pennsylvania, which brings us to Josh Shapiro. Less well-known, less experienced, certainly on the national stage, does not have the biography that a former astronaut and veteran and United States Senator, as Senator Kelly does, or his wife Gabby Giffords does as a former member of Congress. But Josh Shapiro is Pennsylvania. There is no map that works for Kamala Harris, none whatsoever that does not include Pennsylvania. And then you have Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. Not crucial on the map, but he has stayed in the conversation. And in this process, when you stay in the conversation, you maintain your relevance.
Do they believe, Major, the Harris campaign, that they cannot win Pennsylvania without his help?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they've made that calculation at all. And I think if you see her pick Mark Kelly, that is going to be abject proof of that. And if there is a calculation that is on the hard side of politics here, it's that you bring on Mark Kelly, not only for the reasons I've described, but Mark Kelly raised concerns 2.5 years ago about Biden administration border policies and was a frequent critic thereof. So if you're going to try to buttress your weakness on immigration, one way to do that is to say, hey, I'm running with someone who was in our face 2.5 years ago on this issue and was more right than we were. And when Kamala Harris said, as she did earlier this week, that if that bipartisan border security bill that Trump tanked came to her desk, she would sign it, that was a signal to the progressive left. Guess what? On immigration, you are not getting your way with me, not initially at least. And that was a way to deal with this issue from a more aggressive posture than Democrats have for the last 3.5 years. And Mark Kelly would be the personification or the emblematic of that political calculus, if in fact he's put on the ticket.
Major, who do you have on the podcast this week?
So there is a documentary movie called War Game. And I have the two directors and one of the lead producers of that documentary War Game. What is War Game about? It is a tabletop exercise about what the next political insurrection in our country could look like. And it is a real-time discussion around a table about what a fictitious president, national security advisor, Homeland Security Secretary, Defense Secretary would do if the Capitol is attacked in an act of political violence. And it is not rehearsed. There are no lines. There is no script. These people who play these roles all have played significant roles in the United States government in different administrations, Republican and Democrat. So you see them acting as if they were President of the United States, Defense Secretary, et cetera, et cetera. It's a fascinating documentary, and the producers and the executive producers and the people behind it are the guests on the Takeout this week.
Major Garrett, as always, great to talk to you. We will do it again next Thursday.
Thanks so much.
Major Garrett, Chief Washington Correspondent for CBS News. That podcast we're talking about is The Takeout. He also has another one called Agent of Betrayal, and his book is The Big Truth, Upholding Democracy in the Age of the Big Lie. Did you see this? Coming up next on KMOX. And in order to see this, you need to see Ophthalmology Associates. That's right. You need to get your eyes checked. Get your annual exam if you haven't gotten it done. And your health insurance might pay for, you'll have to check, but it might pay for some, if not all, of your annual eye exam. And at Ophthalmology Associates, you're going to find some terrific doctors like Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, Greg Birdie, and Samuel Berry, who are experts in various conditions of the eye. And sometimes if you're dealing with something, on the surface, something just doesn't feel right. Maybe you got some blurred vision, but it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal. There are times where it could indicate something more serious that needs to be looked at and fixed. And at Ophthalmology Associates, they can help lead you down the proper path. They are the doctor's doctors. Over 250 doctors in the St. Louis area go to Ophthalmology Associates to get their eyes examined. And that's why you should consider it too. 314-966-5000 is the number to make an appointment with Ophthalmology Associates. 314-966-5000 or visit yourEyeDoc.com.
We're talking to Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center about why you, Dr. Bosler, love your field, audiology.
What I hate is when people come and tell me that they avoid going to a dining hall at their place of residence because they don't want to have trouble hearing or ask people what. But what I love is when a patient tells me this, and then after wearing a pair of our hearing aids for a few weeks, they tell me that they no longer avoid those difficult settings. Helen Keller said it best, and I always say this, but blindness disconnects you from things, but hearing loss disconnects you from people. So at the Audiology Center, we try to care about you, and we want to reconnect you to your loved ones.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. She's Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today, 636-441-7470 or online, audiologycenterstl.com.
The pitch. Do you dream about calling Cardinals games?
Goldschmidt swings and he hits.
If so, the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum is for you. Learn about play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and working with pro athletes from the best broadcasters in the business. John Rooney, Chip Carey, Rick Horton, Brad Thompson, and more. The Sportscasters Forum is Thursday, September 19th at Live by Lowe's. Tickets include 3 educational sessions, lunch, and a ticket to that evening's Cardinals game. For details, go to MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-499-1216. 800-499-1216. 800-499-1216.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Tuesday, August 13th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites St. Louis Airport in St. Louis, and Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton St. Louis Fairview Heights in Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m.
Biden's open border policies are crushing Missouri. Yet, the Jeff City Swamp is boosting a program subsidizing health care for illegals, the same program behind Planned Parenthood's discount abortion scheme. Thankfully, Iraq War veteran Andrew Bailey is on guard. Like Trump, he's a fighter. As your Attorney General, Andrew Bailey won't stop fighting illegal immigrants and Planned Parenthood. Call 314-340-6816 and thank Andrew Bailey. Stand For Us PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUs.com.
I'm Michael Calhoun. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Are you freaking kidding me? No way!
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy?
All right, do it, Amy. Ask me if I've seen it. Go ahead.
I hate seeing things.
Well,
I don't like this segment. I just wish I haven't seen half the stuff I just saw. So I need to stop reading plane stories. It was a United flight from Houston to Boston on a 737. The crew started getting violently ill because of a passenger's biohazard medical emergency. which was
Oh, come on, dude.
I'm just gonna say it real quick. His colostomy bag
Oh, come on, man.
burst, I guess,
Oh.
exploded. Anyway, we got to stop, move on. I can't, and the plane had to be emergency landed, and I feel awful. I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, come on. Come on, man. That's what you had?
And that's why I said I didn't want to do it.
I did not
and
see
ladies
this.
and gentlemen, this is not. I didn't want to do it, and then they made me.
Well,
I gotta settle down. Okay, let's change the topic.
now that we're all hungry, did you see that IHOP is serving up all-you-can-eat pancakes for $5? They have an all-you-can-eat $5 pancake special, and they're doing this like McDonald's is doing with its value meal. They're starting to decrease the price and give bigger specials. Wendy's is doing the same thing because, as we have all been complaining for, couple of years now, prices are too high. Things are too expensive. Restaurants are too expensive. Well, somehow all of these places are finding it in their hearts to be able to give deals like $5 all-you-can-eat pancakes. That sounds like a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
It also
does.
indicates to me that they've been able to do this entire time.
Yeah.
McDonald's
Still
was able
struggling.
McDonald's was able to do this the entire time to give you like a $5 value menu or whatever. Wendy's was capable of doing this.
Yeah.
They were not handcuffed after about a year and a half with supply chain stuff. They were fine. They were price gouging us. And a lot of companies are. And I think we should wise up to it.
I think you need to first reach out to the Egg Council. I always trusted them.
Not anymore.
The Egg Council, they would advertise during Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
If you can't trust the Egg Council to look out for your best interests, who can you trust?
You can't. This is like the De Beers company that owns all the diamonds, and they hold them in a vault somewhere just to jack up the price for the diamonds
true?
around. Yeah. They've been doing it for years, for decades.
Huh.
They have all these diamonds. And that's why a diamond is so expensive, is because they have them, tucked
and
away.
also because they're kind of hard to get at. Yeah. But then also if they're already rare and De Beers is making them rarer.
That's right.
I heard that rubies are rarer than diamonds, but they're not worth quite as much.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, also worth noting, to cheer up everyone and to buoy your spirits if you're feeling a little down after this segment, Simone Biles competes tonight in the women's final, right?
Well, you mean
tonight?
today.
Well, today, yeah, in Paris, and I am cheering for her, and I think, like I said, I think I've fallen in love. I've always liked Simone Biles, but for some reason, maybe it's coming after everything that happened last time in Tokyo. I'm so excited for her.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. By the way, President Biden is delivering remarks after the freeing of hostages, prisoners, Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan and several other Americans from Russian prisons. We might be carrying those remarks if they get to us here soon. It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
I'm Robert Cornejo. It is an honor to serve as judge for St. Charles County, the community that I am proud to be raising my family in. In my courtroom, I follow the Constitution and the rule of law. I'm not here to legislate from the bench. I'm here to ensure justice is carried out efficiently and fairly. My number one priority as a judge is to make sure this is a safe community for families like mine.
Robert Cornejo served in the Missouri House, where he defended the sanctity of life, prevented illegal immigrants from receiving taxpayer-subsidized tuition, fought against big government, and strengthened our Second Amendment rights. Judge Robert Cornejo is endorsed by the St. Louis County Police Association and Eastern Missouri Coalition of Police for his work to keep St. Charles County safe. Judge Cornejo also has the support of local firefighters.
When you cast your vote, I hope that you will allow me, Judge Robert Cornejo, to be the next circuit judge for St. Charles County.
Paid for by friends of Robert Cornejo. Allison Onder, Treasurer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
KMOX, KEZK, HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got clouds. It's 84 degrees downtown at the Arch. Our top story this hour: a prisoner swap has freed 2 Americans.
The United States and Russia have completed their biggest prisoner swap in post-Soviet history, with Moscow releasing journalist Evan Gershkovich and fellow American Paul Whelan in a multinational deal that set some 24 people free. Russian intel operative Vadim Krasikov, who was convicted of murder, was also freed by Germany in the prisoner swap. That's according to officials in Turkey, where the exchange took place. The trade followed years of secretive back-channel negotiations, despite relations between Washington and Moscow being at their lowest point since the Cold War, after Russian President Vladimir Putin's February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley tells Fox News the Biden administration took too long getting the prisoner swap done.
It's certainly good to get these journalists back home. They should never have been taken in the first place. I mean, Evan's story in particular is absolutely unbelievable. I just have to say, I think it is a testament to the weakness of this administration that it has taken this long.
The Department of Transportation is proposing a new rule to ban airlines from charging parents to sit with their young children.
Under the proposal, U.S. and foreign carriers would be required to seat children 13 or younger next to their parent or accompanying adult for free. U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg spoke with CBS Mornings.
We are requiring that an airline not charge you extra to sit next to your kids or your grandkids. It applies to any accompanying adults.
4 airlines, Alaska, American Frontier, and JetBlue, already seat families together for free. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
The KMOX Business Desk. Can you put off that car or home purchase until September? That could be the meeting with the Federal Reserve. Cuts interest rates. Remember when inflation had people concerned about a recession and the Fed attempted a soft landing?
This meeting's release, much more dovish tone. I don't want to quite say they were hanging that mission accomplished banner behind them, but it does appear the FOMC is pleased with the economic data they're seeing.
Stifel Director of Investments Eric Roberts says there also appears to be consensus among the regional Fed presidents, including from St. Louis, at least for now. The Dow from Stifel is down 541 points to 40,300. We've got a stalled vehicle right now, 44 going westbound at Berry Road. That's on the right shoulder. Some road work on 55 going north at Route Z. That's on the right shoulder right now.
An excessive heat warning remains in effect through 7 this evening. Sun and clouds, hot and humid this afternoon with a spotty thunderstorm, the high 94. A stray evening thunderstorm, then patchy clouds and muggy overnight, those 75. I'm AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got clouds at the moment, some sun. It's 84 in Florissant and St. Peters and 84 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Get paid to save with Empower Checking, a new high-yield checking account. Visit togethercu.org/empower.
It is absolutely a heartbreaking story. Yeva Kapushtarinska is 8 years old. She and her family fled war-torn Ukraine after Russia invaded their home country. They came to the U.S., and just 2 months after arriving, Yeva and her family were in a car accident when a drunk driver hit them. Yeva right now is a quadriplegic, and she was on life support after the accident and is now off life support but faces challenges ahead. The accident happened in Kansas. Yeva and her family came to Rankin, Jordan, where she is receiving treatment. They have the medical capability there to help her. And to give us more information about Yeva's story is Dr. Nick Holkamp. He's the Chief Medical Officer for Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. And Rankin Jordan right now is helping Yeva as she recovers from this accident. Dr. Holkamp, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
I saw this story about Yeva, and I almost can't comprehend the level of tragedy that their family has faced. What can you tell our listeners about Yeva, her family, and her story?
Well, you summed it up very nicely. I mean, can you imagine the back-to-back traumas that this family and Yeva in particular have suffered? Terrible accident, both a serious brain injury and a spinal cord injury. The good news is that her cognitive function has been retained, and when she was able with her family to come to Rankin Jordan, they sort of hit the ground running, and she's actually made a very positive recovery, is now following up in outpatient therapy with us at Rankin Jordan. The family and Yeva are actually doing quite well. So it's really a remarkable story of resilience and recovery that we're really glad and happy to be part of.
And this happened really about 8 months ago. So it is that I mean, it seems like it wasn't that long ago, but for the family, it has to feel like this whole nightmare has been going on for an eternity.
Absolutely. And as you can imagine, after a month in the ICU in a hospital in Wichita, Kansas, they really didn't have any place to go because there are no Rankin Jordan-like facilities in Kansas. Kansas Medicaid wasn't too enthusiastic about covering a trip to and a stay here in Rankin Jordan. We said yes immediately because that's why we exist, is to take care of kids and families in these tragic situations and give them the best chance for a more complete recovery. And yes, the family, both parents were seriously injured. Dad was in a wheelchair for most of Yeva's time at the hospital. He's now mostly recovered. We got to chat with them more recently. They all three have a very positive attitude. I've never seen or been around Yeva when she's not smiling and happy and engaged. So it's really gratifying that we've been able to restore some sense of normalcy to their family.
And you said that her, like you mentioned, she was in the ICU in Kansas and Wichita for a month, came to Rankin Jordan. She had been on life support, no longer on life support, and her cognitive functions were retained. Is she able to communicate right now?
Yes, she's, that's part of the story, is that they had not been in this country long enough to really get very proficient with English. And for the whole month in the ICU, had to work through translators, didn't encounter anybody who spoke their language. The first day they were at Rankin Jordan, their primary physician, the physiatrist who's followed her throughout her recovery, Dr. Eugene Evra, grew up in Russia, has Ukrainian parents, speaks fluent Russian, and immediately they could establish a really good, solid connection and trust. And I think that was a big part of their recovery. So, and Yeva communicates well, both verbally and with, she's really engaged in the recovery process too, which is just really remarkable given all she's been through.
Dr. Nick Holkamp is with us, the Chief Medical Officer for Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. And Dr. Holkamp, first of all, let me reiterate, we were going to break and mention that President Biden is delivering remarks on, or is going to deliver remarks here soon on the freed prisoners this morning. So if that does happen, we are going to break into that. But right now we're visiting with Dr. Holkamp. And for people who are in the area and may have heard the name Rankin Jordan before, they know it's a hospital. Maybe they don't know a whole lot about it. What does Rankin Jordan do?
Well, YAVA is the perfect example of why we're here. We have the constellation of care capabilities, both the professionals and the facilities and the interventions that really help kids with a wide variety of complex medical conditions get the best out of their recovery opportunity from infancy to 21 and sometimes beyond. All sorts of problems. About half of our kids are less than 5 and come out of the NICU, neonatal intensive care units, or the ICU after long stays or severe prematurity. These kids are called children with medical complexity, and just really challenge the healthcare system to continue providing the full spectrum of recovery options that really acute care hospitals aren't quite as well designed for. Beyond that, I think our secret is that when kids are able to get here, when they've reached that point in their recovery, our focus is on getting them back to being kids. And the central therapeutic element for our whole model of care is play. Play is what gets kids better, faster, stronger, more socialized, emotionally more sound and stable. So we try and get kids out of bed and out of the rooms playing as much and as often as possible. And that was true for YAVA too. And I think it made a big difference in her recovery.
And by the way, I just want to make this clear again, YAVA is able to be there at no charge to the family.
Yes, and that's true for all of our patients. The good news is that insurance covers almost all of the patient stays and days that they're here. The insurance doesn't, however, cover a lot of the playful options that we think are critical to recovery. So that's where charitable contributions and donations come in. Very important to offer kids those opportunities that insurance just, understandably, that's not part of their view of healthcare, and yet for us, it's critical.
And there is a GoFundMe account for the family. The title of the account is Treatment and Rehabilitation for My Daughter YAVA. And I think maybe perhaps one of the best ways to go there is ksdk.com has a story with a link to the GoFundMe for YAVA. And you talked about the playful element and allowing kids to play again, to kind of reclaim that childhood lightness that children should have, even though there's been so much weight and heaviness on them. When you have a young girl like YAVA who came from a war-torn country, a refugee from a country, and then an accident like this and separation from her family, reuniting with her family, having physical struggles, does Rankin Jordan also provide a pediatric counseling or therapy for them to talk to and work through all of these traumas?
That's a great question. First, I have to compliment you on your pronunciation of their last name. To this day, I can't do it as well as you did. So good work. And absolutely, we focus really on the whole child and the whole family, because you can't ignore the psychological and emotional impacts that trauma, and almost all of our kids and families have been through serious medical trauma and other sorts. So we focus on that very intensively. We have 2 full-time inpatient psychologists available to kids and families all the time. We have an outpatient psychologist because, for example, YAVA, as she continues and continues to recover psychologically from these series of traumas, will need that support. We have a part-time psychiatrist for the psychiatric and serious emotional issues that our patients sometimes encounter, and supporting the family is really about half of our job. Half taking care of the child, half getting the family and home ready and competent to provide care that is often pretty demanding for families when they are able to go home.
Dr. Nick Holkamp, Chief Medical Officer for Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you for delivering Yeva's story to us and for all the good work you're doing there at Rankin Jordan.
I really appreciate it. To get involved or learn more, rankinjordan.org has a lot of resources. I really appreciate y'all's time today.
And also, if you follow us on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX, we will have the GoFundMe link for Yeva, and you can go there and donate. They're pretty far from their goal, so we would like to get that up because she's got a long road ahead of her. It's a real tragic story. Glad to hear that she's doing better, but that's a family whose lives are completely changed because of all this.
Can you imagine fleeing your country because the Russian invasion, because of war, you get to a country, you don't speak the language, and 2 months into it, your entire family is injured by a head-on drunk driving accident, and your 8-year-old daughter is on life support, is paralyzed. I don't know how you keep moving forward. They shown an enormous amount of resilience, and our prayers are with Yeva. And again, as Ranj pointed out on our Twitter, we'll have the GoFundMe link.
At Chris Amy KMOX. You should do that right now. We are still waiting for President Biden to deliver his remarks after several hostages. We can call them that, I think, right? Prisoners / hostages released from Russian prison this morning, and this is a massive prisoner exchange that involves 6 different countries. So when those remarks happen, we will be delivering them to you here on KMOX.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
We have over $34 trillion in national debt. Where do you think the money to pay for that is going to come from? Taxes. Believe it or not, taxes are at historic lows right now, but how much longer will that last? A Roth IRA conversion might be a good option when planning for your retirement because you can pay lower taxes now and avoid potentially higher taxes later. The FIRA Capital Management Team, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, have seen taxes rise and fall. They know what options you have to potentially reduce the amount of taxes you pay in retirement. Call the team at FIRA Capital Management and schedule your tax analysis today. 314-328-4400. Uncle Sam needs money. Don't let him take it all from you. 314-328-4400. Investing involves risk. Always consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding a Roth conversion, as there may be additional tax considerations. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
One of the best ways to find out about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath is actually to hear the results for yourself. On the phone with us is Wendy in Darwin. Wendy, you got a brand new bathroom.
I do, and it's beautiful.
Are you loving it?
I am absolutely loving it.
Okay, tell me about your bathroom.
It went from a dark room that felt like an absolute cave when I walked into it to a bright, airy, opened the space up. I mean, I don't know what else. It's just absolutely wonderful.
She's almost speechless. So, Darwin, tell me about all the man stuff. How did it work? The quality, the convenience. How did they do?
excellent. We contacted 3-Day Bath, and they got back to us the next day. The communication was excellent. They were on time in all their promises, and it's beautiful. It's a great bathroom.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchen.com.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Hello, Missouri. I'm Jamie Corley, a fifth-generation Missourian and conservative outsider running for Secretary of State. The swamp establishment has embarrassed our state for too long. I'll fight to protect our values, support President Trump, and bring integrity back to Missouri. Join me, Jamie Corley, in this fight for real change. Vote for a proud Missourian who will always stand up for you. Paid for by Jamie Corley from Missouri, Mary C. Walsh, Treasurer.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high quality.
And now let's head to President Biden delivering remarks after the prisoner exchange this morning.
Evan, also Vladimir. 3 American citizens, 1 American green card holder. All 4 have been imprisoned unjustly in Russia. Paul for nearly 6 years. Vladimir since 2022. Evan since March of 2023. And Alsu since October of 2023. Russian authorities arrested them, convicted them in show trials, and sentenced them to long prison terms with absolutely no legitimate reason whatsoever, none. Paul, a former Marine, was in Russia for a wedding. Evan, a journalist with Russia, in Russia, was in Russia, assigned by the Wall Street Journal. Alsu, also a journalist, was in Russia to see family. All 3 falsely accused of being spies. And Vladimir was a Russian citizen by birth and holds an American green card. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and was a pallbearer at my friend John McCain's funeral with me. He spoke out against Putin's regime. And for that, he was convicted of treason. And now, their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free. Moments ago, the families and I were able to speak to them on the telephone from the Oval Office. They're out of Russia. Earlier today, they're flown to Turkey, and soon they'll be wheels up on their way home to see their families. This is an incredible relief for all the family members gathered here. It's relief to the friends and colleagues all across the country who've been praying for this day for a long time. The deal that made this possible was a feat of diplomacy and friendship. Multiple countries helped get this done. They joined the difficult, complex negotiations at my request. And I personally thank them all again. And I've thanked them personally, and I'll thank them again. All told, Russia has released 16 prisoners. 8 Russians who are being held in the West will be sent home as well. These 16 prisoners from Russia that Russia has released include 4 Americans, 5 Germans, 7 Russian citizens who are political prisoners in their own country. One of those Russians runs a human rights organization, Memorial, which won a Nobel Prize in 2022. Putin threw him in prison for voicing opposition to the war in Ukraine. 4 others work with Alexei Navalny, political opposition leader who died in Russia prison this year. Now they can live safely abroad and continue their work of advocating for democracy if they so choose. This deal would not have been made possible without our allies. Germany, Poland, Slovenia, Norway, and Turkey, they all stepped up and they stood with us. They stood with us. And they made bold and brave decisions, released prisoners being held in their countries who are justifiably being held, and provided logistical support to get the Americans home. So for anyone who questions whether allies matter, they do. They matter. And today is a powerful example of why it's vital to have friends in this world. Friends you can trust, work with, and depend upon, especially on matters of great consequence and sensitivity like this. Our alliances make our people safer, and we began to see that again today. Let me say this. It says a lot about the United States that we work relentlessly to free Americans who are unjustly held around the world. It also says a lot about us that this deal includes the release of Russian political prisoners. They stood up for democracy and human rights. Their own leaders threw them in prison. The United States helped secure their release as well. That's who we are in the United States. We stand for freedom, for liberty, for justice, not only for our own people, but for others as well. And that's why all Americans pride in what we've achieved today. I want to thank everyone in my administration who helped make this happen. Our work did not start just on day one. It started before day one. During the transition, I instructed our national security team to dig into all the cases of hostages being wrongfully detained, which were inherently, well, we inherited them from the prior administration. I wanted to make sure we hit the ground running, and we did. As of today, my administration has brought home over 70 Americans who were wrongfully detained and held hostage abroad, many since before I took office. Additionally, I issued an executive order in 2022 authorizing penalties like sanctions and travel bans on those who hold Americans against their will. And my State Department has introduced new warnings for Americans about the risk of being wrongfully detained by a foreign government. Deals like this one come with tough calls, and there are never any guarantees. But there's nothing that matters more to me than protecting Americans at home and abroad. And so we'll continue to work for the release of all wrongfully detained Americans around the world. Let me end where I began, with Paul, Evan, and Alsu, Vladimir, and their families. They never gave up hope. We can't imagine what they've been through, all of you. Matter of fact, this lady right here, I think, was living in the Oval Office with us for a while. All kidding aside, can't imagine their joy right now. They're home. Tomorrow's a big day. The 13th birthday of Miriam. Miriam, where are you? Come here. You all know we have a tradition in the Biden family. We sing happy birthday on any birthday. You ready? All of you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Miriam. Happy birthday to you. Remember, no serious guys till you're 30. God love you. She's Alsu's daughter. Now she gets to celebrate with her mom. That's what this is all about. Families able to be together again, like they should have been all along. So I want to thank you again to everyone who did their part. In just a few hours, we'll welcome home our fellow Americans. We're looking forward to that. God willing, we're going to be out at Andrews and get that done. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is a good day.
What did you say to them on the phone, sir? What did you say when they answered the phone on the other side?
I said, welcome almost home.
How do you countries, these so-called abductor states, from simply taking more Americans in order to get more of their prisoners home? How do you end these perverse incentives, sir?
Or advising people not to go certain places. Tell them what's at risk, what's at stake.
Negotiations, and can you speak to the complexities of working with 6 countries to secure these groups?
Well, look, I'm not going to take the time now, but I'll do this later in the week. I particularly owe a great sense of gratitude to the Chancellor. The demands they're making of me required me to get some significant concessions from Germany, which they originally concluded they could not do because of the person in question. But everybody stepped up. Poland stepped up. Slovenia stepped up. Turkey stepped up. And it matters to have relationships. It really does. These things matter. Pardon me?
Could this improve relations with Russia? Is there any avenue for that after this prisoner exchange deal?
As my sister might say, your lips to God's ears, man.
Did you ever speak with Vladimir Putin about this? Would you be willing to speak with Putin now directly?
I don't need to speak with Putin.
Anyway.
How did you weigh that decision of letting somebody out? It sounds like, by the way, we heard
and got home innocent people. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
All right, that is President Biden delivering remarks after the freeing of multiple prisoners from Russia, including two of the more famous cases in Evan Gershkovich, the reporter from the Wall Street Journal, and also former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan. So that is what he had to say. Very big day is a huge exchange involving multiple countries: Germany, Slovenia, Norway, Poland, Russia, and the United States. That's Amy Marks Kors across the desk from me. I'm Chris Ranji. The phone number is open as always, 314-436-7900. We will be talking with Gabe Gore, the St. Louis City Circuit Attorney, at 12 o'clock after Christopher Dunn was released from prison. But when we come back, we are going to visit with Matt Pauley. We'll talk about the Cardinals, who begin a series tonight against the Cubs in Chicago. So it's a big four-gamer about to happen, and Matt Pauley joins the show when we come back on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Stacy here from Fairwinds River's Edge, an award-winning independent living community in St. Charles. Voted Best Independent Living by U.S. News and World Report, we provide life-enhancing senior services to support your best self. In our active community for adults 55 plus, you'll cultivate connections in a community that feels like home. And for your first 3 months, we are offering 50% off rent. Apartments start at $39.95. Visit fairwindsriversedge.com to learn more.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
At 11:30 sun and 86 downtown at the Arch.
KMOX is covering breaking news.
CBS News special report. President Biden has just commented about the massive prisoner swap with Russia.
Now, their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free.
CBS's Linda Kenyon.
President Biden says 3 American citizens and 1 American green card holder who were unjustly imprisoned in Russia are finally coming home. They are Paul Whelan, Evan Gershkovich, Alsu Kurmasheva, and Vladimir Kara-Murza. The statement calls the deal that secured their freedom a feat of diplomacy.
The exchange involves 24 people in 6 countries. Former CBS News Moscow bureau chief Beth Noble.
The Russians are very strategic in the way they agree to prisoner exchanges, and they drive a very hard bargain. They made little secret of the fact that they wanted a convicted Russian assassin back from prison in Germany, and there was talk of a 3-country trade for months.
CBS News special reports. I'm Steve Kathan.
We've got a stalled vehicle 270 south of Dorset, just been cleared. Some road work on 6440 going west to Timberlake Manor. That's on the right shoulder. Excessive heat warning through 7 p.m. this afternoon. Mix of sun and clouds. Thunderstorm possible. High temperature of 94, but the real feels near 100. Thunderstorm this evening, low 75. For tomorrow, we've got another chance of a thunderstorm, high in the 90s. It's 86 now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A weak White House, an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue, to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Chris Stefanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Chris Stefanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for state senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
Conservative Dave Wassinger is the only pro-Trump Republican running for lieutenant governor. Wassinger is the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. And Wassinger is the only candidate for lieutenant governor with the guts to work with Trump to deport illegals. Wassinger's policy on illegal immigration is simple. Come here legally, or it's adios, amigos. Listen to conservative pro-Trump Republican Dave Wassinger.
President Trump is right. Illegals break our laws, steal our jobs, and overwhelm our hospitals. It has to stop. As my lieutenant governor, I'll fight to keep Missouri safe and deport illegals. You come here legally, or it's adios, amigos.
Dave Wassinger, tough on illegal immigration. Dave Wassinger, pro-Trump. Dave Wassinger, pro-life. Vote Dave Wassinger for lieutenant governor. Paid for by Wassinger for Missouri. Henry Charles Poles, treasurer.
CARE STL Health proudly hosts Project O, the 5th annual opioid awareness walk run in Forest Park, August 3rd. Choose from a 5K or 1 mile route. Registration is free, with donations appreciated. There will be giveaways and awards for attendees. Join CARE STL Health as they amplify awareness of the opioid crisis, honor those lost to addiction, and bring together community resources to support those affected by the opioid epidemic. CARE STL Health Project O walk run is Saturday morning, August 3rd in Forest Park. Visit carestlhealth.org to register.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Hi, this is Mark Harder, and I'm running for Missouri Senate 15 on August 6th. Over the last 9 years, I have delivered for the residents of West St. Louis County. I fought for senior tax freeze and delivered. I fought for the Veterans Treatment Court and delivered. I fought for police training, funding, and community support and delivered. I fought to keep our neighborhoods safe and our cars from being stolen and delivered. Now I need your support. Vote smarter, vote harder in the August 6th primary.
Paid for by citizens to elect Mark Harder, Chuck McCluskey, treasurer.
I'm Frank Ladd. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar.
I'm Woodson Contreras.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
A win in his Major League debut for Michael McGreevy as the Cardinals beat Texas 10-1 today.
Yo, Paulie!
Paulie's a great name. Hey, watch your mouth, Paulie.
Yo, Paulie! What'd you do for Paulie? Anything?
Want to get your beer, Paulie?
Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you.
This Cardinals report is brought to you by Renner Garage Door. RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Great partner to the show. We love having him. We love having this guy on the show, is Matt Pauley, who was with us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Yesterday, Matt, first of all, hello. Secondly, yesterday we did the show from Cardinals Nation at Ballpark Village, which we normally do for day games when they're playing at Busch Stadium. And right toward the end of the show, a guy came up and wrote a little note on a napkin and said, with an arrow, he pointed to the table he was at and said, "This is Mike McGreevy's family." So he was very excited. There were about 8 of them. They were all looking forward to the big game yesterday, and it worked out nicely for the guy making his debut.
What a great day and story and everything. I was talking about this yesterday on the post-game show. As I see more and more games in my life, I think kind of the emotional moments hit me a little bit more. And in the last 2 days, to see the Tommy Pham grand slam and his first at bat back, that was an emotional moment. And then yesterday, Michael McGreevy making his major league debut and coming out and just taking a shutout into the 6th inning, going 7 innings, allowing 1 run on 5 hits. I mean, that's that's a special, special day. And I was just so happy for McGreevy that he got to have that experience, something that nobody can ever take away from him. And every game matters right now. He got the Cardinals back within 5 games of first place in the division. So there's a lot going on, but that was really, really fun yesterday.
Okay, in terms of the division race, just this is sort of an overview. At what distance will you start to feel like, okay, this could happen? They could take over the division. They're 5 games out now. What do they need to get? Like 4, 3?
I think 3.5 is the one where I always look at and go, okay, they're right there. For some reason, the difference between 3.5 and 4. At 4, it feels like you're still arm length away. At 3.5, it's like, okay, you're right there.
Okay, I know pitch count isn't the biggest story, but it is something that I just talked about in baseball. And over 7 innings, McGreevy did throw 99 pitches. It's a pretty high total for a debut, I guess. Any surprise from you, or no, just because he looked like he was cruising along?
No, because he's been doing that at Memphis this year. So his pitch count he's been a legit starter at Memphis all season long, throwing close to 100 pitches. So that did not stretch him out. Now, it would be a different story, say this guy, if Matthew Liberatore has a start and throws close to 100 pitches, then I think that's a story because he's been pitching out of the bullpen. But since McGreevy's been starting down at AAA, to me, the pitch count story was how well he managed the pitch count. He gave him the opportunity to throw 7 innings. For a young guy like that, he was getting a lot of ground ball outs. What did he finish with? It was like 13 or 15 ground ball, 12. It was 12 ground ball outs yesterday. So when you do that as a pitcher, when you're able to pitch to contact and have success, it gives you the opportunity to pitch deeper into a game.
So, Matt, with Lance Lynn being placed on the injured list after pitching on Tuesday night, he pitched through the knee soreness. This was what opened the door for McGreevy to take his spot on the roster, at least temporarily. What is the real expectation, you believe, for when Lynn is available to pitch for them again?
Yeah, so McGreevy was going to pitch almost no matter what. They wanted to give they're in this stretch right now. I think it's either 13 or it's 16 straight days without an off day, I think it is. So they wanted to give everybody an extra day. So they were always going to pitch McGreevy yesterday just to push everybody else back. Now, the roster move became a little bit easier for them to pull off when they had to put Lance Lynn on the injured list. And also, it's funny how things always tend to work themselves out in baseball because a lot of people were freaking out. Was Andre Pallante going to be pulled out of the rotation with Eric Fetty coming in? Well, now Lynn's going to be out, so you can assume that Pallante is going to be sticking in there for at least a little while longer. They did not give a timeline yesterday on Lynn. They feel like rest and rehab is going to be good enough to get this knee back to normal, that it's not something that's going to need surgery. But I also don't get the sense that this is going to be one of those 10-day deals and he's back. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. He pitched on a bad knee in his last start. He was limping around noticeably after the game. So I think it's going to take a little while for Lance Lynn to be able to return.
So it looks like, I mean, you're certainly after this, after his night last night, the results were really good. There were a few hard hit balls against him, but he's earned another start, so he'll get that.
I don't think so.
Oh, you really?
No, I think he's going to be back. I think he'll be returned to Memphis today.
Okay, all right. I thought
I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong on this, but I think he'll be returned to Memphis today.
All right, very interesting. Would you be surprised though to see him again before the year's up?
No, not at all.
Certainly September, you've got the call-ups.
Yeah, if an opportunity presents itself again for him to make a start, I think he'll do so. But right now they're in a roster crunch because they're going to have to add Eric Fetty to the roster today. And again, you still have 5 starters because Andre Pallante is there. So yeah, I would expect. I bet he's already back in Memphis. That's I don't know for sure, but I would guess. And it's funny, Tommy Pham was asked about that yesterday. So Pham goes, that was a spot, because somebody said, how about that for a spot start? Like, that was a spot start. That was really good. We got to make sure find a way to get this guy more starts. So yeah, but I think that's just a one-time thing for him.
Well, let me ask you this then. Once we get into September and you've got call-ups, how do you think, and I know we're 2 months away from that because it is August 1st today, so there's still some time here before you get to the end of the year, but as they get closer to being in the playoffs, and they're not guaranteed to be in it, but they're in good position for that right now, might they start to give a little bit of time to guys like Sonny Gray? Let them have a bit of a breather toward the end of the year and maybe use one of these other starters to take the load off?
It probably depends on where they're at in the standings. So right now, they're 5 games back in the division. They're also not in a playoff spot from a wild card standpoint. They are a game and a half out in the wild card, and they've got another team to jump over even to get in there. The Mets are a half game out, and the Mets are in front. So if they are sitting very comfortably in the playoff race, and you feel like you can go to a 6-man rotation and everybody gets a little extra rest, and that's going to create some good position for these guys to be in going into the playoffs, then you use that extra roster spot and you do that. But if this team is hard charging for the playoffs and needs to win every single game possible, I don't think you do that.
So Tommy Pham came through the other night, as we mentioned, in his first at bat back with the Cardinals. He hits the grand slam, so he contributes pretty much immediately, giving the Cardinals what they needed in a right-handed presence. Just in terms of him being in the clubhouse again, we know he's an interesting guy. We've known that because he's been here and we've seen it up close for a long time before he played for a couple of other places. But to see him back in the clubhouse, what does his energy, his personality do to the Cardinals clubhouse right now?
So right now it's energized it, and sometimes these are short-lasting sort of deals. So let's revisit this a couple weeks from now. But that clubhouse after the trade was made, man, there was an extra jump in there. The guys were excited about this, and people were legitimately happy to have Tommy Pham coming in. He is a different kind of guy, but I wasn't covering the team when he was with the Cardinals the first time, so I haven't really spent time talking to him or anything like we were able to do the other day. But it felt like it was a little bit of a different Tommy Pham as well. He was a little bit more reflective. He had said some things about the Cardinals in an article when he was with the team that got a lot of attention. And he was asked the other day how he feels about the organization now, and he basically said, well, after playing for a whole bunch of other teams, I've realized how great this team is. That's me paraphrasing what he said, not the exact quote, but that's what he kind of had to say. He's playing down what he's just one of 26. He's just going to come in and try to play his part, and he's done that. He's 4 of 6 in his 2 games with the Cardinals, with a home run, with 6 RBIs, and a 2,000 OPS. I mean, he has made a profound impact on this team in 2 games, and I think his kind of personality, where there's gonna be an energy there. There's gonna be if he sees something, I don't think he's gonna hold his tongue. There's gonna be an accountability for the rest of the team, and not that hasn't completely existed, but just to be able to put that in there. And Oliver Marmol was asked about this yesterday. He was asked about, because when you're in the clubhouse, you can sense that it just feels a little bit different right now. And Marmol basically confirmed that, saying that once the trade deadline hit and those guys knew that, okay, this is the group, this is the guys that we're going to be taking the field with every night, that everybody felt really good about where they were at and they were ready to roll. Just there's good vibes right now inside that clubhouse for sure.
Are you feeling the good vibes? Or do you have them yourself?
Yeah, it really did feel different, and that's not just me trying to be Captain Sportscaster here. It really felt different.
Captain Sportscaster.
We should give you that name. That's a good name.
Here's
Captain Sportscaster.
Matt Pauley, Captain Sportscaster.
Like we have Captain Roger Brand.
Yeah, he's earned the captain title.
You can have it too, buddy.
Yeah.
There's more than one captain.
Captain Crunch. Arguable.
Captain Crunch.
Well,
wasn't he demoted?
Matt Pauley.
I had Captain Crunch the other day, and about
you were a grown-ass man. What are you eating Captain Crunch for?
1 o'clock in the afternoon or so, I go, you know what? My days of eating Captain Crunch are over.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, why? Oh.
It did not feel good.
Yeah.
Really? Is Captain Crunch...
Well, it's for children.
No, it is not.
Yeah, it is absolutely for kids.
Oh,
There's a lot of
really?
sugar.
Are
There's a
pirates
lot
for
of sugar.
kids?
You can-
There's nothing childlike about a pirate.
You can eat whatever you want.
Is the Navy for kids? Captain Crunch is absolutely an adult.
Matt, you're in your mid 30s, right?
No, I'm in my early 40s.
You're in your
Are you
early
really?
40s. You have there's no reason for you to be eating Captain Crunch.
Matt,
No. So
that's
It's
wrong.
time to grow up.
That was that and Fruity Pebbles were my favorite cereals growing up. And then so generally I get a workout in the middle of the day, a couple hours after breakfast. And I ate breakfast. I had Captain Crunch because we got it for my 5-year-old daughter. I was like, oh, I'll have this. And I am working out, and it is just the most horrible feeling I've ever had. I'm like, okay, I think I am done with Captain Crunch.
Well-
and knowing your history, it's more like Captain Punch. This guy's always trying to start fights. All right. Hey, Matt, tonight's pregame show at 6:10, first pitch at 7:05, weather cooperating.
Weather willing.
Is there bad weather in Chicago?
I have been told, yes, because I'm actually on standby to host a show if the rain washes out the game. Not your show. You'll be doing your show,
Right,
buddy.
I know. You
Yeah.
do your little moonlighting with 670.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm
Maybe
on
you're
call.
Captain Sportscaster.
That's right.
Captain Moonlight.
Thanks, pal.
You bet.
Matt Pauley.
With me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
So again, scheduled to have a 6:10 pregame show tonight. 7:05 first pitch from Wrigley Field. Cardinals and Cubs on KMOX.
The 2-2 pitch to Tommy Pham is swung on, and there's a drive. Deep right center field. Way back. It's a grand slam. Welcome back, Tommy Pham.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank. We proudly recognize the Lime Child and Family Center as a building community partner. The center provides high-quality early education and support for families, regardless of their financial situation or a child's development level. Busey is proud to support programs that address all areas of child development, with a special emphasis on the social-emotional skills necessary for future success. Learn more at limechildandfamily.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. The Lime Child and Family Center has been building community in South County for close to 50 years. In that time, need led to growth. Licensed today for 121 children, the center also offers parents resources, referrals, and support so they can provide more stable homes. We at Busey know strong families mean strong communities. Join us. Get involved. Help your neighbors as we continue building the communities we call home.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Erst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game at $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contest and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
There's Mike Kehoe's campaign bus that's owned by a Chinese lobbyist. Swampy Kehoe is hitching a ride after voting 4 times to sell Missouri farmland to China. Luckily, Trump-endorsed conservative Jay Ashcroft is tough on China. He led the charge to stop China from buying our farms. Call and thank Ashcroft for being China's worst enemy. 573-751-4936. Paid for by Stand for US PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUS.com.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to unlock our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/value.
LWO LLC, doing business as Longwater Opportunities, is seeking to hire a vice president for its St. Louis, Missouri office. The Vice President is responsible for leading the credit underwriting and due diligence process, responsible for formulating an investment thesis and identify key risks of new private debt and equity investments, prepare financial models and conduct research, participates in investment committee discussions and present due diligence analysis and investment recommendations to the committee. Must have a master's in business administration, economics, or finance, plus 36 months of requisite experience including lending and or credit analysis, investment banking, private equity or accounting, underwriting debt investments, and negotiating and structuring investment terms including capital structure, valuation, and subsequent amendments. In the alternative, a bachelor's degree and 60 months of experience. Some travel, hybrid permitted within St. Louis region. Submit resume to jill@lwopps.com. That's JILL@LWOPPS.com.
213 Flashpoint Complex will take you to the next level. It increases your metabolism, fights cravings, gives you all-day focused energy with no crash, and at night, it helps you burn fat by lowering cortisol levels. 213 Flashpoint Complex is available at Supplement Superstores. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Tune into the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
I'm Joe Pott. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Well, you all know what time it is. It's time to be very, very careful because we have Leagues Cup tickets to give away.
That's right. Yesterday, Sherry in Edwardsville won.
Yes, she did. And maybe you could win today.
So the Leagues Cup is Sunday at City Park against Juarez.
FC Juarez.
Yes. And you could win tickets for that.
You can win a pair of tickets. Here's how you do it.
Yeah.
You got to be the 7th caller to the contest line only, 314-955-1120. Be the 7th caller to the contest line.
And
you look like you were going to add something to it,
Well,
Ron.
no, it seems very simple.
It is.
But I'm looking at the call screener right now.
Oh
I
my
can
gosh.
see who's dialing in. And guess what?
What?
So far, so good. Nobody has dialed the wrong number.
I think they're being careful.
They absolutely are.
But you can win a pair of tickets. Again, the City SC takes on FC Juarez August 4th. That's this Sunday in a City Leagues Cup game. It's very exciting. Good luck to everyone calling in. If you're the 7th caller, you are super lucky.
And by the way, if for whatever reason you don't win today, you still have a chance tomorrow. Because tomorrow we will have the final pair of tickets to give away for this.
You got to keep listening to our show. We give things away. We gave away Barry Manilow tickets, Train tickets, Aerosmith
for the
tickets,
band Train,
Def
Leppard,
Wheels.
Def Leppard, Cheap Trick, Journey.
That was incredible.
I went to that show.
Heart.
It was good.
You did go to that show.
Heart?
Didn't we give away Heart tickets?
Did we?
I believe. Maybe
I don't
not.
remember. Hey, when we come back, we are going to visit with St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore. After Christopher Dunn was finally released from prison this week, we will get his thoughts on that, some other matters as well. It's Amy Markscores and Chris Ranji. The final hour of the show is next on KMOX.
1-800-GOT-JUNK recycles because it conserves our natural resources.
We donate the donatables so they can be loved and used by another family.
Recycling saves us money. The less we take to the landfill, the more we save.
It also saves you money. Spending less on landfills helps keep our prices low.
People love to see a win-win scenario, but we've created a win-win-win-win scenario.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partnered with Beacon. With their unique Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through September 15th, purchase GAF through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Before you sell your home, consider your options. This is Debbie Monterey, and for years I've been telling you about St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is an expert in selling homes for the most money because she has the guarantees, the buyers, and different solutions for every type of seller. She recently provided a family multiple cash offers in minutes so they could move quickly with no showings, no costly repairs, no hassles. Not everyone is looking for multiple cash offers. That's why Gloria will sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. Her name says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed. Regardless of whether you're looking for multiple cash offers or you want to use her Guaranteed Sold program to ensure you get the most money possible, call the agent I would trust to sell my home, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
1-800-GOT-JUNK recycles because it conserves our natural resources.
We donate the donatables so they can be loved and used by another family.
Recycling saves us money. The less we take to the landfill, the more we save.
It also saves you money. Spending less on landfills helps keep our prices low.
People love to see a win-win scenario, but we've created a win-win-win-win scenario.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty, reminding you why pay more than for. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many market's ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than for?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, we've got some sunshine. It's 88 degrees downtown at the Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour.
KMOX is covering breaking news.
CBS News special report.
In just a few hours, we'll welcome home our fellow Americans.
President Biden in the aftermath of one of the most complicated prisoner swaps in decades between the U.S. and Russia. The Americans released include former Marine Paul Whelan and Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, but citizens of other countries as well.
Deals like this one come with tough calls.
Germany released a Russian convicted of murder. Former U.S. Ambassador to Moscow, John Sullivan.
This fellow, Krasnikov, he was sent by the Russian government to commit murder in a park in Berlin. He shot a Russian dissident to death on the orders of the Kremlin.
CBS's Nancy Cortez.
Germany's involvement was key to this entire diplomatic feat that, had fits and starts for over a year, but has now gotten done.
The Americans are now on their way home. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
U.S. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri tells Fox News he's upset with how long it took the Biden administration to make the swap happen.
And we don't know the contours of this deal. And what we do know in the past is that Joe Biden has been willing to roll over for the Russians. You think about the deal he struck involving Brittany Griner and the trade for the merchant of death. I mean, that was an incredibly bad deal.
The St. Louis City Police Department has 3 weeks to produce documents in relation to the Bar PM criminal case.
If you don't want to give us the evidence, don't bring the charges.
In court today, attorneys for Bar PM owner Chad Morris, charged with misdemeanor assault against an officer, were surprised by the Circuit Attorney's Office response to their motions as they seek evidence related to their case. Here's attorney Javad Kazali.
We were surprised that the prosecuting attorney's office showed up with one of their senior managers and agreed to give us all the documents that they want. They basically said it's not their fault, it's the police department's fault, but they are working with the police department to try to get these documents.
Kazali says the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office has said in emails to them this is a long-term issue with the police department and the city councilor's office. Kazali says if the evidence is not produced by the 22nd, they have a hearing already scheduled for the 29th to determine what happens next in the case. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The tone of political discourse appears to be a big turnoff for women who might consider running for office.
Women make up 8.3% of all nominees for governor versus 34.2% in 2022. So just in 2 years, a significant decline.
Wendy Doyle, president and CEO of United We, an organization promoting economic and civic advancement for women. Doyle tells KMOX she hears frequently from women who don't want to deal with personal attacks.
Women are concerned about their reputation and the reputation of their family when entering a campaign that can be somewhat controversial.
Doyle says more women jumped into the political arena after the 2016 elections, but she suspects a recent dive can be attributed to the personal nature of attacks, especially on social media. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The Dow from Stifel's down 538 points to 40,304. Got a stalled vehicle 70 going west at Florissant Road. That's on the right shoulder. Watch out for some road work on 67 Lindbergh going north at Dorset. That's in the right lane.
A mix of sun and clouds, hot and humid this afternoon with a high of 94. A few places will get a thunderstorm. A thunderstorm in the area this evening. Patchy clouds, warm and humid overnight, low 75. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got some sun. It's 87 in Florissant and St. Peter's and 88 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Get paid to save with Empower Checking, a new high-yield checking account. Visit togethercu.org/empower.
If I hold on to the negativity, if I keep on holding on to the past, I would never be able to move forward. So for those who participated in my prosecution, I forgive you. I'm not going to forget, but I do forgive you. But at the same time, I got to move on with my life too.
That's the voice of Christopher Dunn, who was released from prison this week, leaving a courthouse in the city just a couple of days ago. And this was after being wrongfully imprisoned for a murder he did not commit. Spent about 34 years in prison. And the last time we spoke to our next guest, Christopher Dunn was still trying to gain his freedom. Mm-hmm. We're visited by Gabe Gore, circuit attorney for the city of St. Louis, who was in studio with us. We appreciate you coming in. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
You must feel pleased that this has finally gone through because there were some hangups. It was ruled that he should be released from prison. The Missouri Supreme Court stepped in. We know the Attorney General from Missouri tried to hold it up and did, at least temporarily. So what is the feeling now that this has all finally been done?
It's just a feeling that justice has been done. It's a good feeling to know that we were able to correct an injustice. We know that the criminal justice system is not infallible. And in my role as circuit attorney, and I think as prosecutors generally, when we see that there's an issue, that something has occurred that was unjust, all we can do is work as hard as we can to fix it. And that's what we did in this case. I personally handled the hearing in May and was very pleased to see Judge Singheiser's ordering his immediate release. And there were a few hangups, as you point out, but was very gratified to see him finally released.
When those hangups were occurring and he was just feet from being released and then had to be called back, when that stuff is going on, clearly there's frustration, but did you feel a sense that maybe this was going to be an extended process where he wasn't going to get to leave anytime soon?
I was very hopeful that it was just going to be a temporary stay. I think largely the matter was stayed and his release was stayed pending briefing, just basically to allow more process, to allow the attorney general to articulate their positions more fully and us to articulate our responses more fully. I think the Supreme Court just wanted to be able to consider the full briefing before it made its final decision. So I was hopeful that it would be only a short delay.
The judge ruled that the circuit attorney, made a clear and convincing showing of actual innocence, a phrase that he used, actual innocence, that undermined Dunn's conviction. Were you surprised then after that ruling to have the attorney general block his release?
I will say that I did not anticipate that. I did believe that once the judge ruled and issued the order that Mr. Dunn would be released. As you know, his family went down to meet him at the prison, and yeah, that was not something I was anticipating. But you learn to roll with the punches.
So there's a difference between there existing reasonable doubt in a case and then there actually being evidence that a person did not commit a crime. So if there are people who have not really followed this story but kind of heard about it, what was that evidence that was very clear he had nothing to do with it?
So here, to me, the judge's ruling was premised primarily on the fact that at his trial, the murder occurred in 1990, the trial occurred in 1991. At his trial, there were really only two pieces of evidence against him. And that evidence came in the form of testimony from two children, who they were children at the time that the murder occurred, a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, who said they witnessed Christopher Dunn pull the trigger and commit the murder. The circumstances under which they said they observed that made it somewhat incredible that they were able to observe it, but they were able to testify convincingly to a jury that they did observe it and that they knew it was Christopher Dunn. And that is the evidence that he was convicted on. Since that time, the new evidence we have is that both of those witnesses recanted their testimony, said we made it up. That night, we didn't see who fired the shots. It was impossible for us to see. It was too dark. It happened too fast. We were too scared. We were too young. We didn't see it. We feel bad that we have wrongfully identified Christopher Dunn. So that was really the primary. Once that testimony was recanted, there was really nothing left to support a conviction against him, and that's what the judge concluded.
So when witnesses recant testimony, on average, how often does it happen that they've gone back on what they've said, but maybe they're lying on the recant? Does that ever happen?
I don't look at that statistically.
Yeah.
But here's what we argued at the hearing and the point we emphasized with Judge. We were like, not only do we have recantations of the only testimony that supported a conviction in this case, we're going to present to you evidence that demonstrates that the recantations are very credible. And that's why it was a 2-day hearing. We put on testimony from other people who were there that evening who said, there's no way anybody could have seen anything. It was too dark. The shots came out of nowhere. We were all scared for our lives. There's no way those witnesses saw that. There was testimony put on that, the reason that 14-year-old and 12-year-old made the decision to identify Christopher Dunn is that they believed that he was a member of a rival gang. And in their 12 and 14-year-old minds, they thought we didn't see who did it, but we bet it was him. So we're going to go ahead and say we saw him. So we put on evidence like that. We put on the evidence which Judge Singheiser relied on. We put on evidence from an ID expert, a woman who just studies the science of, making identifications, and basically showed that every indicia or circumstance of an unreliable recantation basically existed in the Christopher Dunn case. You had very young witnesses. You had very poor lighting conditions, 12 o'clock at night. You had extremely stressful situation, which was shots being fired at their heads. And you had a situation where the ID they made was based on someone who they previously knew. So that raises a level of suspicion because you're like, okay, did you really see them, or are you doing what we now know they did, which is we think it was him because we don't like him, that sort of thing. He's a rival.
Because I am a layman and I don't know exactly how the processes roll out. After Judge Sennheiser ruled that Dunn should be released based on the evidence you presented, and as I mentioned, Attorney General Bailey wanted to block that release. Was there a conversation between you and Attorney General Bailey, you personally, and would that even be a normal part of the process?
No, there was no conversation. They filed their motion. The Supreme Court stayed everything for the weekend and set a briefing schedule. So we briefed it and waited for the court to rule. And fortunately, they were able to rule fairly promptly.
We are visiting with Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore here in studio with us. This case, and I'm sure for him, have you had an opportunity to really speak with him after this happened? I know there's a lot going on in the office, but what is the family saying now?
I have not had a chance to speak with him directly since he's been released. Obviously, I saw the press conference and his statements, and they're all what I would have expected. I have had an opportunity to speak with his wife once Judge Sennheiser's ruling came down, and she was obviously elated and very grateful that the long process was over. She was the one who initially kind of initiated the process that ultimately culminated in her husband's release. So, I know the family is elated. It's been a very long road.
And we talked so much about the criminal justice system, restoring faith, building faith in the justice system. Something like this, when you have new evidence, right? Or even at times new technology like DNA that for older cases that we didn't have. Do you find that this type of case, allowing a man who was wrongly convicted to finally be free, restores faith in the criminal justice system? And do you think sometimes, I don't know what it may be, political reasons or whatever, it's like the attorney general, whoever may be reluctant to go forward with that because it almost maybe they view it as sowing doubt in the justice system?
Yeah, from my standpoint, and it's the reason why, very early in my tenure, I reestablished the conviction integrity unit in our office because in my view, and I think studies show that when you have a community that believes that you have a fair criminal justice system that acts with integrity, you actually, it contributes to public safety. It contributes to people wanting to participate in the criminal justice system. So from my standpoint, I know two things. I know that none of us are infallible. I know the criminal justice system is not infallible. We do the very best we can every day to make sure we don't convict an innocent man. I've said repeatedly that it is one of the fundamental premises of the American criminal justice system that it is better that a guilty man go free than that an innocent man be convicted. And that's how we operate. But even given that, there will be mistakes. And I think when we demonstrate that we're willing to acknowledge when a mistake was made and pursue justice, I do think that builds confidence in what our office is doing.
There is the case of Marcellus Williams. I know that's the county that is dealing with that. Does that have anything to do with you? Is there any sort of assistance that you give on a case like that?
No, we have no involvement with that, and I've followed that by reading maybe a couple articles about it, but not really particularly familiar with that. Had our hands full with Dunn.
Yeah. There's plenty going on in the city right now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we always check in with you, the office, moving forward, just continuing to make progress.
Yes, continuing to make progress. Continuing to staff up with attorneys and looking forward to the fall. We're going to have 7 brand new law grads join our office, hopefully in October. And when that happens, hopefully our staffing will exceed 50 attorneys at that point. And that's a long way from where I started with about 22 trial attorneys. So we're looking looking forward to getting that additional attorney support and, just continue to build on what we're doing.
Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore, we appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming in. And of course, as the issues continue to pop up in the city, we will talk to you. Of course, we want things to improve in the city. We talk about it all the time, and we believe that it's getting there slowly, probably, but progress is progress, right? So we appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore with us in studio here on KMOX.
As President Trump's trusted attorney, Missouri's Will Scharf beat the lawfare liberals at their own game, delivering a major victory for Trump at the Supreme Court. He'll win for Missouri, too. Scharf's a rule of law conservative, tough on crime, backs the blue. Conservative Will Scharf, warrior for Trump, winner for Missouri Attorney General. Because Missouri's lost enough with liberal Andrew Bailey. As a prosecutor, Bailey went easy on a violent repeat felon with a long rap sheet, including shooting up a police car. Yet Bailey charged him with mere misdemeanors when he struck again, leading to a plea deal that cut him loose within months. Bailey slapped a violent felon on the wrist, the same wrist he allegedly used to shoot a cop. Buried last year, mourned by loved ones wearing black, because Bailey betrayed the blue. He'll betray Missouri, too. Defend Missouri PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. 471-671-2291.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, August 14th at the 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights. In Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m.
La 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 la. La, 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 la.
Oops. Ever had your singing lessons cut short by icy water?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
Say goodbye to those cold notes with Navien tankless water heaters. With Navien, you'll hit all the right notes without the surprise chill. So keep singing and let Navien keep the hot water flowing. And get ready for the encore when you get your utility bill.
La, 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 la.
Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Let's face it, planning for retirement can be overwhelming and stressful. And things like record inflation, rising interest rates, the threat of a recession, and the possibility of Social Security disappearing all feel like roadblocks to reaching that retirement finish line. All of these issues can have a major impact on your life savings. So the question is, what are you doing about it? Join the All Financial Group August 22nd and the 27th at Cooper's Hawk for a presentation providing you with the tools, insight, and proven strategies that can help you overcome these retirement roadblocks. Seating is limited and you must register to attend. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice.
I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Save big on our ready-to-move-in market homes with 3.9% financing if qualified on selected homes. Select from a wide variety of home styles and prime locations. No worries or waiting since we have selected all the most popular features and save thousands in interest. Don't miss this opportunity to own one of these move-in ready homes. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Conversations that hit close to home, from schools to your pocketbook. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Well, the major news from today, Amy, and it happened this morning. Many people woke up to it. The story that the United States, along with Russia and several other countries, negotiated the release of prisoners in Russia. And of course, the multiple countries like Germany and Slovenia had to send prisoners back to Russia. But Evan Gershkovich has been released. He's the Wall Street Journal reporter who was wrongfully imprisoned, and also Paul Whelan, the former U.S. Marine, is now out. He is safe.
And also, as a quick note, when you're released from Russian prison, it seems they hand you paperwork. It's not quite an exit interview, but something of the sort. And I think you're thanking Putin for letting you go. I don't know exactly the details, but the Wall Street Journal reports that they helped Evan Gershkovich fill it out, but then the last page is blank, allegedly for any of the former prisoners, to write what they want on it. And Evan Gershkovich had a request that after he is released, would Vladimir Putin be willing to do an interview with him? Come on.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I am so glad he's home, but that's his thought is, Ever the reporter, will you do an interview with me? Can I interview?
Not in person, and I'm not coming to you.
Yeah.
We could do this over Zoom or something, but I am absolutely not coming back to Russia.
And the Defense Department confirmed yesterday that 3 terrorists detained at Guantanamo Bay that were linked to September 11th terrorist attacks, including the alleged planner, or one of the primary planners of the attack, agreed to a plea deal with the U.S. military. It will most likely result in a lifetime imprisonment and not the death penalty. The details haven't been finalized, but there are those, especially the 9/11 families communities, who feel that they have waited over 20 years for a trial and wanted those terrorists to face ultimate accountability and to have a trial take place. So I know that this is a relatively controversial move.
And there is an organization called 9/11 Justice, and we are efforting to have the person that started that organization. His father was killed in the World Trade Center. So hoping to have something with him at some point here soon, but it would be really great to talk to him and just, get his thoughts on everything, because he was at that hearing yesterday that happened in Manhattan. Jay Ashcroft, who currently is running for governor for the state of Missouri, he is the Secretary of State and filed a lawsuit against Biden administration over an executive order which promotes access to voter registration. It was an order from 2021 that the Biden administration signed. And what it does is call for federal agencies to promote voter registration and participation. What Jay Ashcroft is arguing is that the methods are not appropriate, and that this is a federal overreach and it violates principles of the U.S. Constitution. I don't understand wanting to encourage people to vote and then considering that to be a bad thing. Do we not want more people to participate in the process?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why encouraging people to vote, and unless I am missing something in the details and the way it was targeted, it somehow crossed a line, because anything that has to do with elections and campaigns and voters is very, very technical and legal. I don't know if there was something that crossed a line or not, but yes, you want to encourage people to vote, absolutely.
Here's what Ashcroft says is, quote, Missouri has a robust and effective election system in place, and it is the responsibility of the states, not the federal government, to manage voter registration and election procedures. But what the federal government is doing is promoting on websites and online forums and social media platforms to
Go
register to vote.
register. They're not registering the people.
Right, which I'm
not sure.
I don't see what the
Well,
big deal is about that.
Speaking of voting, and I know we'll get more into this, but the Maricopa County Recorder, Stephen Richer, remember he
Yep.
joined us on the show. He lost in the state's primary. He was an Arizona Republican, the Recorder of Deeds, who also managed mail-in voting. He was adamant in saying that the 2020 election was not stolen. I mean, he was there. He was working with it. Republicans, Democrats, and independents all together. He said, and he was adamant that there was indeed election integrity. And he had received death threats for it. Well, he has now been primaried.
And multiple people, by the way, in Arizona, in the Republican primaries, were primaried out, people who stuck up for the elections, which is that's a bummer. It is an absolute bummer that that's where we are as a country right now. Amy Marks Coors, Chris Ranji. When we come back, the Bommarito Automotive 500 is coming up in a couple of weeks at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We're going to talk to the director and a driver. That's coming up next on KMOX.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. You find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
There's Mike Kehoe's campaign bus that's owned by a Chinese lobbyist. Swampy Kehoe is hitching a ride after voting 4 times to sell Missouri farmland to China. Luckily, Trump-endorsed conservative Jay Ashcroft is tough on China. He led the charge to stop China from buying our farms. Call and thank Ashcroft for being China's worst enemy. 573-751-4936. Paid for by Stand for US PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. StandForUS.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
At 12:30,
CBS News special report.
Welcome almost home.
It was a complex deal that took many months, but Americans held in Russian prisons have been released.
Their brutal ordeal is over, and they're free.
President Biden thanked allies who helped achieve the prisoner swap with Russia and Lisbeth Noble.
The number of people and countries involved and the prominence of the prisoners make this something absolutely unprecedented.
Among the Americans released, former Marine Paul Whelan and Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. The swap coming despite poor relations between the U.S. and Russia. Analyst William Pomerantz.
This is great news for the families, but I do not think that this bodes for a reset for U.S.-Russian relations.
It was the largest prisoner swap since the end of the Cold War. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
What a major league debut for Michael McGreevy. He pitches the Cardinals to a 10-1 win against the Rangers yesterday, going 7 strong innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk as he picks up the win in his major league debut. Tommy Pham continues to come through for the Cardinals in his second game, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Alec Burleson also drives in 2, while Brendan Donovan has 2 hits and 3 RBIs. The Cardinals take 2 of 3 from the Rangers. They get set for a 4-game series against the Cubs starting tonight. Sonny Gray on the mound looking for his 11th win. 7:05 first pitch. Our coverage begins at 6:10. With the Redbird Report, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Disabled vehicle 70 going east at Florissant Road. The right shoulder is closed. Excessive heat warning through 7 p.m. High today 94. Real field temperatures near 100. Thunderstorm in parts of the area. Also thunderstorm this evening with a low temperature of 75. Right now it's 89. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
A weak White House, an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Cristofanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Cristofanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for state senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Saturdays are made for soccer and City SC on Y98. Whether you're running around town watching your kids from the sidelines or making the time to give blood and save lives by making your appointment at Impact Life, your community blood center. Make your appointment today at bloodcenter.org/soccer. And remember, you can always catch the City SC game anywhere on the Odyssey app and on Y98, your home for St. Louis City Soccer.
I'm Megan Lynch. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
The famous Andretti name with a young American behind the wheel, Kyle Kirkwood, is your latest IndyCar race winner. He wins the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. On your horn!
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. To the Quiver River Electric guest line we go because August 16th and 17th IndyCar is back here in St. Louis. The Bomarito Automotive Group 500 is happening over the weekend. It is a huge event. You can get tickets at metrotix.com. And we are joined by driver Kyle Kirkwood, who is with us now on The Voice of St. Louis. Kyle, it's good to have you. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So I understand you're from Jupiter, Florida. Does that mean you're a Cardinals fan?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, byproduct of it, right? I grew up about a mile north of their spring training facility. So yeah, I mean, if you're in Jupiter or Abaco area, you kind of have to be.
That's right. There you go. Now you have endeared
Miles
yourself
Michaelis
to
is
everybody.
from Jupiter, and he plays for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Miles Michaelis. Do
Yeah.
you know Miles Michaelis?
No, I don't.
This was right up there with, I have an aunt who lives in Florida. Maybe you know her.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, it is interesting, though, because I actually had read this huge story on you in NBC Sports and how your rise to IndyCar racing and being a driver was somewhat unlikely because it's a very small group, kind of an elite group to get into the sport in the first place. And that wasn't necessarily you.
No, I mean, that's correct. Yeah. My family's got zero history of racing. My dad was actually a soccer player, and so were my brothers, and I was at one point. But I fell in love with karting, and it turned into something much bigger. And now we're here. We're actually at Worldwide Technology Raceway testing at the moment, turning some laps, getting ready for the big event here in a couple weeks.
What is the testing process like? How long does it take? And, how long does it take for you to get used to running on a track?
Yeah, so I mean, we've obviously came here quite a few times, so it's nothing new in the sense of the actual track, but there's some new things on the cars, and they're always ever changing certain products of the cars, and we got to learn it around the track, and whether it's tires or downforce levels or things like that. But coming back to this track, we now have a hybrid system, which is something that's all new for IndyCar this year. And so we're trying to learn everything with that, but we're on track from 10:30 to 7:30, and we'll pretty much be running all day, just testing various items on the car to see what makes it go fastest around this place.
When you are on something as finely tuned as an Indy car and you're driving it in thousandths of a second matter and like 100th of an inch matters, each change that is made to the car, whatever it may be, the tires or something structurally, how long does it take you to adjust?
Well, actually on ovals, it's pretty much immediate. You can feel things within you. So we're running this circuit in about 25, 26 seconds to do a full lap around here. And within that lap, you know what the change is done. And like you said, yeah, thousandths of an inch you can feel depending on what you actually change on the car. So yeah, it's very minute changes do big things to these race cars, and you feel them instantly as a driver.
So how does that? I mean, you've been at a lot of tracks now. How does that one differ from some of the other major ones?
Yeah, I mean, every track is different in many senses, but typically around ovals, just the nature of the track, it's much faster. There's only two corners. You can learn things a lot quicker, and it's very car dependent. Whereas if you're on a road course, one corner is completely different from the other corner, and you got to get through anywhere from 10 to 15 of them to really know what the car does around the entire circuit. So you're constantly learning at road courses, but ovals, it's a little bit easier to figure out the setup and the balance and how exactly you want the car. So, but it's also very dependent on how the car operates and runs. And it is always changing dependent on weather conditions and how you change the car, of course. So yeah, it's a lot of work out here. That's for sure.
Well, growing up, did you get to go to many IndyCar races?
Not too many. Just given the nature of my family wasn't really in racing. So, the first IndyCar race I ever attended was down in Homestead, Miami Speedway. I believe it was 2007. And I was karting. They had a karting track down there, and they gave all the drivers that did well some tickets to go to the IndyCar race. And I watched them go around the speedway down there. But that was my first one, and I remember always just watching them on TV because there wasn't many races. There's only two. There was Homestead and St. Petersburg, Florida, on the schedule. So yeah, I didn't get to travel to many of them.
I know it was a NASCAR race that just took place up in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, but there are courses that you'll go through cities. You're talking about the oval track as opposed to something that's not really like that it's a different kind of course. What do you prefer? Do you like the oval tracks better, or do you like something that goes through maybe a downtown area?
It depends, and you're going to be biased based on how good your car is and how fast you are around a certain circuit. But we've tended to do much better on street courses than anywhere else. So I'm biased probably towards the street courses, but if we do well here, I'll probably turn that back around and say, my ovals are the best, so it's really dependent on that. I mean, as an IndyCar driver, you have to say the Indy 500 is your favorite race of the year, which it definitely is. It's something that we really cherish. But with that being said, all ovals are awesome. So we're looking forward to coming back here. This is the next track to the Indy 500 that we actually get to 200 miles an hour. So it's a short track, but in some senses it feels like a super speedway.
Yeah, and I recommend anybody who has the opportunity to go to the Worldwide Technology Raceway to do so, because my family had this tradition really up until COVID. I think COVID kind of messed things up, but we would go to the Indy 500 every year. And I think that started maybe late teens, early 20s. And before that, I really didn't know much about racing. I wouldn't have considered myself a fan, but seeing it in person changed everything. The power, the noise, feeling the speed of the car and the power of the engines rattle your rib cage. It's so much fun that even if you don't consider yourself a racing fan, if you go and see it in person, you'll become one.
It definitely changes your perspective. That's for sure. And I remember seeing it my first time at the 500 and being like, wow, this looks a lot different than on TV. And you guys here have a chance to come see them here in a couple of weeks. So obviously, if you're listening and you can come out and watch us, you'll see 27 of these awesome cars going around.
So when the IndyCar or the Indy 500 last year, you got the wreck and then you're sliding down the track upside down. So I know those cars are built really, really well. So are you? What are you feeling in those moments when the car's sliding down the track? You're upside down. I would be terrified. You must feel pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, no, it's the cars are so safe now. They've done a lot to improve the safety and make sure that they withstand everything, and also the tracks are safe now with safer barriers and catch fences and everything. So it's gone a long way. So I was obviously very safe in that situation, especially with the addition of the halo and the aero screen. So. It was a even though it looked really bad from the outside, it was actually very calming, and I was not injured whatsoever. So
calming,
yeah. I wouldn't say calming, but it was calming knowing that you have all the safety mechanisms around you. It's as calming as it can be, I should say.
Are you mad at the guy who clipped you?
No. You know what? He's our teammate now, so definitely not.
Okay.
It wasn't like he did it on purpose. So
okay.
Hey, but they're rushing me to get back into the car.
Okay. All right. We'll see you.
I got to take off.
Good luck.
All right?
Good luck. All right, Kyle.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
IndyCar driver Kyle Kirkwood with us, and he is going to be at the Bommarito 500. Right now, he's at Worldwide Technology Raceway. They're testing out the track, so that's very cool. If you want tickets, metrotix.com. I have never been to an IndyCar event.
You gotta go.
I have never been to a NASCAR event. I think I'd like to. It's not my thing on TV, but I think it'd be really cool to watch in person.
IndyCar changed everything for me because, like I said, it was my brother and my dad who would go with my uncle and cousin and everything. And it was almost kind of like a guy's trip, but I wanted to go, but I was afraid that I would be bored, right? You think of how many hours is the race. I can't sit there and watch them go around in a circle because I really only knew it on TV.
Yeah.
Once you go, and like I said, it's kind of the next best thing to having an F-18 flyover, right? Or an F-35, only it's happening over and over again. It's so exciting. And you can get up, walk around, go in the infield, buy a snack. It's very fun. I would suggest it. I think you would love the Indy 500.
I think I would too. It'd be very cool.
They're so fast.
And
on the straightaways, they hit 220 miles an hour. And there's an announcer in the Indianapolis Speedway where they're calling the different drivers going through the home straightaway, and the crowd cheers. It's the greatest spectacle in racing.
And by the way, you should go look if you haven't seen that wreck at the Indy 500 from last year. The tire popped off.
Yeah.
Tire came off, and it went over the guardrail and just past the crowd. That could have been really bad. Could have been really bad for the spectators. But it's a gnarly race, gnarly wreck. Go look at it. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji. Congratulations, Kevin in Maryland Heights. You've won the tickets to see City SC play in the League's Cup on Sunday. One more pair of tickets to give away tomorrow.
Patriots like President Trump never stop fighting for their country. Because Trump knows America's on life support and says Dr. Bob Onder can help him save it. Trump's endorsed Dr. Bob Onder for Congress, calling him an incredible America First patriot who will fight tirelessly for our families and conservative values. Dr. Bob Onder, the Trump-endorsed America First conservative. Kurt Schaefer is different. Trump calls Schaefer weak on MAGA because Trump knows his record, voting to let foreign-owned entities buy up Missouri farmland. Now China owns over 40,000 acres. And Schaefer's campaign took $30,000 from a Chinese-owned company. He won't make America great. He'll make China rich. If given the chance, Schaefer will do it again. Win It Backpack is responsible for the content of this ad. Paid for by Win It Backpack. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. WinItBackpack.com.
The Bomarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's not just a race, it's a spectacle. Go to WWTRaceway.com now because the first deal is the best deal. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate, Illinois.
I'm Robert Cornejo. It is an honor to serve as judge for St. Charles County, the community that I am proud to be raising my family in. In my courtroom, I follow the Constitution and the rule of law. I'm not here to legislate from the bench. I'm here to ensure justice is carried out efficiently and fairly. My number one priority as a judge is to make sure this is a safe community for families like mine.
Robert Cornejo served in the Missouri House, where he defended the sanctity of life, prevented illegal immigrants from receiving taxpayer-subsidized tuition, fought against big government, and strengthened our Second Amendment rights. Judge Robert Cornejo is endorsed by the St. Louis County Police Association and Eastern Missouri Coalition of Police for his work to keep St. Charles County safe. Judge Cornejo also has the support of local firefighters.
When you cast your vote, I hope that you will allow me, Judge Robert Cornejo, to be the next circuit judge for St. Charles County.
Paid for by Friends of Robert Cornejo. Allison Onder, Treasurer.
1-800-GOT-JUNK recycles because it conserves our natural resources.
We donate the donatables so they can be loved and used by another family.
Recycling saves us money. The less we take to the landfill, the more we save.
It also saves you money. Spending less on landfills helps keep our prices low.
People love to see a win-win scenario, but we've created a win-win-win-win scenario.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hi, this is Mark Harder, and I'm running for Missouri Senate 15 on August 6th. Over the last 9 years, I have delivered for the residents of West St. Louis County. I fought for senior tax freeze and delivered. I fought for the Veterans Treatment Court and delivered. I fought for police training, funding, and community support and delivered. I fought to keep our neighborhoods safe and our cars from being stolen and delivered. Now I need your support. Vote smarter, vote harder in the August 6th primary.
Paid for by citizens to elect Mark Harder, Chuck McCluskey, Treasurer.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Whether you're looking to fill low spots in your lawn, backfill that new retaining wall, or mulch your trees and flower beds, St. Louis Composting has the compost, soil, or mulch you need to help your plants and garden look its very best. Visit our website, stlcompost.com, for more information.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
I'm Kevin Wheeler. This is KMOX. The voice of St. Louis.
What's today? It's Thursday. Really? Feels like Tuesday.
Chris Ranji, Amy Markscore is here with you on a Thursday. And the Cardinals are in Chicago, taking on the Cubs. We have the game tonight, first pitch, 7:05. Matt Pauley's got the pregame starting at 6:10.
Hopefully, I am hearing there is rain in the area, but we're going to...
Who are you hearing that from?
From people on the ground. Boots on the ground in Chicago where the Cardinals are playing. They're starting their series.
The Odyssey weather correspondents in Chicago?
No. I am speaking to meteorologists. And they say it's hit and miss. So we'll see.
Sonny Gray, hopefully pitching tonight.
No, well, yes, he is going to start if there is a game. So
if there's not a game,
Who knows?
He won't be starting.
That is correct. Thank you so much for saying that. The KMOX blood drive is coming up, Amy.
It is.
Are you aware of it?
The Brett Bloom blood drive.
That's right. It is August 22nd. It goes on from 2 until 7, so right there in the afternoon. There are 7 locations around the area. The O'Fallon, Missouri YMCA, and Merrimack and Imperial, Missouri. The Merrimack Arnold Elks, downtown Belleville, South City, the American Legion in Collinsville, Chesterfield, Washington, Missouri. There is a location. So we want you to go to rcblood.org/help. And we need blood donors. Again, this is in memory of Brett Bloom, former teammate here at KMOX.
Yep. And that's been going on for several years. And it's a really uplifting event when you go to donate. There are certain events, certain circumstances that bring people together, that bring communities together. And I think blood drives in general do. And with this one, with the Brett Bloom blood drive, obviously very personal and special to KMOX, and different KMOXers will be out and about as well.
And by the way, I'm giving you a couple of different websites here. But if you go to redcrossblood.org, it'll kind of all take you to the same place. And there's a sponsor code, and the sponsor code is KMOX. So when it asks you for a sponsor code, type in KMOX, and we'll know that you did. We'll know that you did this for us, and we totally appreciate it. So again, that's August 22nd from 2 until 7. Of course, you can donate whenever you want to.
Do you like boar's head meat?
Yeah.
Have you had boar's head meat?
Well, no, not lately because of the listeria.
Yeah, because yesterday they recalled like another 7 million pounds of deli meat.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw a story from before that report that the amount they had recalled amounted to was it something stupid like several millions of dollars, or maybe even more than that?
Well, it had to have been more
like,
than that, because yesterday,
hold on, maybe it was like $1 billion or
there
something.
was another recall. Like it was a second round of recalls yesterday, and that included, quote, an additional 7 million pounds of sliced and packaged meat and poultry. The company added 71 new products to a related recall that was last week of more than 200,000 pounds of meat. So the first recall was 200,000 pounds. This new recall is 7 million. 34 people have gotten sick. 2 people have died. It was the newly recalled products. It was the Boar's Head and Old Country brand, and they were the ones that were made in the company's facility in Virginia between May 10th and July 29th.
So patients have been affected in 9 states. Missouri is one of them.
Have you ever gotten sick from a recalled food?
No. Just not gonna.
Yeah, don't even put that out there. It is one of my biggest fears. I mean, I have a lot of big fears, but the recalled food one has slowly been creeping up. Because I remember there was a recalled frozen fruit one time, and I was afraid that was going to take me out.
Well, if you have any of these symptoms, go to the hospital. Fever, muscle aches, convulsions, loss of balance, headaches, confusion. What if I just have confusion?
It sounded like you said confusion twice.
Oh, no. No convulsions. I'm confused, and I have a convulsion.
Yeah, don't do that. Be careful with your meat.
Yeah, it's not good. Hey, anything you missed on the Odyssey app, you should download it and listen to our podcast. I think you'll enjoy it. We're going to be back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock ahead of Cardinals Day Baseball. Big day tomorrow, big night tonight. It's Chris and Amy. The Dave Glover Show is coming up next on KMOX. Summerween, because it is. It's called Summerween.
Why does that sound like something completely different?
Paid for by Lori Rook from Missouri. Ryan Rook, treasurer.
You deserve to know where your tax dollars are